Live from Falmouth, this is Red Radio. Headline News.
It's 5:30, you're listening to The Way It Is on Red Radio. Good evening, I'm Hytham Chlouk. Top stories this evening. The row about phone tapping by the News of the World is ramped up by the government. A man's arrested in connection with the YMCA in Brighton that left 60 people without accommodation. And on Strictly, Arlene's out, Alicia's in. Who said a pretty face is not important? The trial of a man accused of a serial attack on women in Hastings gets underway. First tonight, that phone tapping row. Gordon Brown says there are serious questions to be answered over new claims of phone message hacking by the News of the World. It's alleged the mobiles of thousands of politicians and celebrities were targeted. Politicians have become interested because the News of the World's editor at the time was a man called Andy Coulson. He's now David Cameron's senior media advisor, and the politician's small blood. Scotland Yard's expected to update us in a little while about what action they plan to take. Chris Giles reports.
Politicians, celebrities and sports stars, all allegedly victims of an illegal newspaper operation to hack into their mobiles to get confidential personal information.
For your messages, press 2. For mailbox settings, press 4.
The Guardian claims News of the World journalists paid private investigators to target thousands of well-known names to uncover new stories. It reports former Deputy PM John Prescott was one of them. He's critical of Scotland Yard.
You'd have thought the police might have come along and told me, and then I could have pursued it further if necessary. 2
years ago, News of the World journalist Clive Goodman was sentenced to 4 months in prison for hacking the phones of royal family staff. The current allegations are said to have come to light as part of the same police investigation. The paper's editor at the time, Andy Coulson, is now the Conservatives' PR chief. He denies any knowledge of hacking, and David Cameron is standing by him.
As the Director of Communications, he does an excellent job for the Conservative Party and behaves properly and in an upright way in everything that he does.
But former Home Secretary Charles Clarke says Mr Coulson should go.
It's outrageous for David Cameron to keep him at the core of Tory politics. For a man who seeks to lead the country, he must have the judgment to sack Andy Coulson immediately.
It's also claimed the News of the World's owners have paid around £1 million in out-of-court settlements to 3 people who said their privacy had been breached. That includes Gordon Taylor from the Professional Footballers Association. MPs want to question those involved, while the Metropolitan Police and Press Complaints Commission say they're working to establish the facts about the Guardian's claims.
A couple from Hailsham in East Sussex are being denied leave to appeal against an order to have their daughter adopted. The appeal court heard the girl lived in chaotic and unsanitary conditions. The court said the girl was at risk of psychological harm. Alison Ball, QC, who's representing the mother, says the girl was happy at home and the parents were not given a chance to disprove the claim they had put their own needs before their daughter's welfare. A court in Lewis has been hearing today about a car salesman who carried out a series of random, motiveless attacks on women in a seaside town. Adam Gould, who's 27, is alleged to have roamed a small area of Hastings to target and attack vulnerable women. Stephen Butler reports.
Lewis Crown Court heard how Gould harmed more than 10 women and girls aged from 15 to 50 plus over a 2-year period from 2006. He was caught in the middle of another attack whilst under police surveillance. Prosecutor Christine Lang, QC, said that levels of violence escalated over the 2 years, to the extent where a bottle was used on one occasion and a metal bar on another. The jury was told that the victims were left with injuries ranging from bruising, concussion and broken bones, and that most of them remained traumatised by the ordeals. All of the offences are alleged to have taken place within a small area of the town, in and around Alexandra Park, St Helens Road and the surrounding areas of Hastings. Gould, who was unmarried and who lived with his parents in Pilgrim's Way in Hastings, denies 14 charges, including sexual assault, assault by beating, wounding with intent, and a number of other assault charges. The trial continues.
Sussex police have arrested a 29-year-old Brighton man on suspicion of arson after a major fire at the YMCA in Old Stein left 60 people homeless. The man was arrested in Hove and released on bail until August 13th while officers carry out further inquiries. And who knows best, the country auctioneer or the big cheese expert in London? Let me tell you the tale of Gorringe's, the Sussex Auction House, Sotheby's, the Global Auction Room and the Constable painting. Gorringe's valued the painting at £500 because they didn't think it was a constable, but bid 24 grand for it, certain that it was an original. It was taken to Sotheby's to be sold on. The big cheese auction house expected bids of between 300 and 500,000 quid. But it failed to sell. And the morale of that story is... 2 more people have died after catching swine flu. There are a 66-year-old man from Essex and a young child from South London. Both are said to have had underlying health problems. It brings the total reported number of deaths in London due to swine flu up to 5. A new 3-digit telephone number may be created for patients seeking non-emergency medical care. Communications regulator Ofcom's begun a consultation on the introduction of the nationwide 111 number. The Department of Health says it won't replace existing local telephone services or NHS direct numbers in the short term, but could do so in the longer term. Google is developing an operating system to smash Microsoft Windows. The search engine giant is mounting an assault on the dominance of the Microsoft by launching an operating system that will be free to download and use. Google Chrome OS will be launched in 2010, initially aimed at netbooks. More than 96% of the slimmed-down PCs come preloaded with Windows. It's 20 minutes to 6. This is the way it is. Still to come, sentencing of the youth who attacked Shaquille Smith near his home in East London last August. A convicted rapist serving a life sentence has won a plea to be reclassified as a lower-risk prisoner after being castrated. And the latest in sport and entertainment. But first, 6 youths have been sentenced to nearly 100 years in jail between them for the murder of an innocent 14-year-old boy. Shaquille Smith was attacked near his home in Hackney in East London last August. The 6 members of a bicycle gang were given minimum terms ranging from 15 to 18 years. When it was all over, Shaquille's mum, Sandra Maitland, talked outside the Old Bailey of her sadness.
I think it's sad because, obviously Shaquille's life has gone, but they're all so young as well. In one sense, I'm glad that the same way he won't have the liberty of enjoying life, they won't have the liberty of enjoying life for quite a while. But at the same time, I'm sad because our young people are killing each other, and it just saddens me to try and understand why they have so much hate for each other.
What is your thought about the kind of gangs that roam around all our cities, but in particular, in this case, in Hackney, which your son got caught up in?
It's difficult to explain because at the end of the day, young people, there's gangs because they have nowhere to go and they see it as part of being together, and I just feel that we need to have things that takes them off the street, that keeps them occupied, especially when you're having so many boys that's going to be together, then they get up to mischief.
A boy's seriously ill in hospital and a teacher's being held on suspicion of attempted murder after an incident in a classroom. The science teacher at All Saints Roman Catholic School in Mansfield is also being questioned about alleged assaults on 2 other pupils. Nottinghamshire police officers were called to the school yesterday. Detective Superintendent Adrian Pearson updated Sky's David Crabtree.
The 49-year-old man who was arrested yesterday at the school has subsequently been arrested on further offences of attempted murder and of 2 assaults on other children not related to the 14-year-old boy who was taken to hospital yesterday. All 3 children were taking part in a science lesson when an incident developed, as a result of which that 14-year-old boy sustained serious and significant head injuries, and the other 2 children were assaulted as well. The pupils come here from a wide catchment area because they wanted to be taught in a school faith environment, and the school has got a very good name and a very good reputation, and it's come as a huge shock to everybody in Mansfield about what's happened, and the school themselves are doing everything they can to reassure the pupils because it's the end of the school year, it's the last time of the year you possibly think anything of this nature would take place.
A convicted rapist serving a life sentence has won an attempt to be reclassified as a lower risk prisoner after being castrated. TJ Owen Mackenzie was convicted in 1991 of sexually assaulting a teenager and abducting another with intent to rape. In 2005, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer and had his testicles removed as part of the treatment. A Court of Appeal judge says his risk of reoffending has reduced. It's not ageism, and it's not got anything to do with the prettiest face. Dance expertise is obviously at the heart of Strictly Come Dancing's decision to sack Arlene Phillips and replace her with the gorgeous Alicia Dixon. Alicia's 30 and Arlene's 67.
It's nice to see you,
Yeah, right. White cloud overhead this afternoon with temperatures of about 18 degrees. This looks to clear tonight, making way for sunny intervals tomorrow with the odd spot of rain possible. Light rain showers look likely over the weekend, however. It's 20 minutes to 6. You're listening to Red Radio. This evening we've reported on the row about phone tapping by News of the World is ramped up by the government. A man's arrested in connection with the YMCA in Brighton that left 60 people without accommodation. Sacked Arlene Phillips is replaced by the gorgeous Alicia Dixon, who happens to be 30 years younger and beautiful. That's the way it is this evening. I'm Hytham Chlouk.